Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to our class. Today we have to learn a SLO from unit 6 and we have discussed the SLOs of grammar and SLOs of reading and critical thinking of this unit. So today we have to discuss the SLO from the oral competency, and the SLO for today's competency is demonstrate attentive listening skills to respond orally with standard pronunciation. So students, we also have covered this SLO in previous units like in the unit 2 and in some other as well. So today this SLO is actually the second time we are going to learn, we are going to discuss this SLO. The main keyword of this SLO is attentive listening skills, and then the second keyword is respond orally, and thirdly it's that with the standard pronunciation. So we have to focus on these three keywords to understand this SLO. And what are these three keywords? The first one is attentive listening, second one is respond orally, and third one with standard pronunciation. So what is meant by attentive listening? Students, you know that in oral communication it is very important to listen attentively. You have to adhere the message, you have to focus on what the speaker is saying, what the addresser is saying, because without that you are unable to respond properly, your response will go wrong. So it is important to listen attentively, it is important to listen carefully and understand what the speaker is saying to respond to them correctly, to respond to the speaker correctly. So that's why it's very important to listen attentively. Now there is a question that what is meant by attentive listening? Attentive listening means that you are listen completely, you are focused on, you have a complete focus on the speaker, you are adhering the message, you are bothering the message, and you are trying to understand that message. So this is how you can listen attentively. So firstly, you have to listen to that person only. You have to look at the facial expression, you have to look at the eyes, the body movements, the posture of the speaker, and then you have to focus on what he or she is saying. And then what you have to do, you have to try to understand that message, that those words which the speaker is pronouncing. So this is how you can listen attentively. So students, when you listen attentively, when you are understanding what someone is saying, when you have a complete idea what he or she is talking about, then if he or she makes some question, if he or she makes some inquiry about the conversation, about the topic which he or she is discussing about, which he or she is talking about, then you are very much able to respond orally. And as far as the pronunciation is concerned, so it's a matter of practice. So this is the demand of our SLO. So today's SLO is based on oral communication skill and the lifeblood of oral communication. And what is that? That is listening. If you are unable to listen, you cannot even speak. It's a fact. If you are unable to listen, you cannot speak. So if you want to speak good language, you have to listen good language. If you want to speak English, you have to listen the English. And in our routine conversation, in our, we can say that daily life conversation, it is very important to listen what someone is saying, what someone is talking about, what is the meaning of that thing which he or she is talking about. It is very necessary to give the appropriate answer. So this is our SLO, and today we will practice this, because as far as to teach this is a very hard thing. We will try to learn, we will try to adapt these attentive listening skills and then we will go further for our activity. So students, it's an interactive lecture. You all have to participate because it's a lecture of oral communication. So students, you have to communicate with me. So it's time to unmute yourself and be ready for the interaction. So let's find out what is the brainstorming prompt there. What is the importance of clean water for human life? So students, this is the first question, and one by one you all have to give the answer of this question, but you have to stick to the English, because the demand of our SLO is to pronounce English with a standard pronunciation pattern. So that's why you all have to speak in English, and you all have to give an answer to this question, because in our previous lectures we have discussed this topic. So let's find out how much visible your listening skills are. So let's try to make some answers. Yes, from any student. Is there anybody who can give me the answer of this question? What is the importance of water for human being? Yes, from the Renaissance school. Firstly, the speaker has to set his or her name, and then he or she can make the response. Yes, from the Renaissance school. Who is that? And then you have to give the answer.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum
My name is
assalam.
Asma Akbar.
Okay, so yes,
Clean
Asma.
water is very clean water is very important in our human life because if we don't take clean water, this will make us ill and very sick. This uh, this
Okay, so you make some points
this
that
water
firstly water is very important. Then if we don't have the water, then we will become sick. Yes, any other point from your side? Yes, Asma.
So in short, water is very important for our life. Water is important, but also clean water is very important. If we don't take clean water, we can't live in this world. Clean water is fundamental resource that impact our health and agriculture, economic development, and
Okay, so that's a pretty good answer. Yes, from any other student from any school. Is there any student from the Renaissance? Yes, is there any student from the Renaissance who want to give an answer? Okay, so nobody is there. Yes, from the other schools. Is there any speaker who want to give answer to this a very simple question? Yes, from the Renaissance. Who is there?
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Alaikum assalam. Yes. Who is this?
My name is Wasim. My name is Sarah
Pardon
Wasim.
me. I don't hear what you are saying. Your sound will distort it. What's your name?
Sarah Wasim.
Okay. So yes, Fatma.
Sarah.
Yes, you have to give the answer.
My name is Sarah Wasim. Clean water is very important for human life. Clean water is crucial for drinking, cooking, and personal hygiene. Water can carry harmful pathogens and toxins, leading to diseases like cholera, dysentery, and typhoid fevers. And water is very important for human lives because it gives us energy. Consists 80% of water is in our earth. In water, without water we can't live. And but if we drink clean water truly is the foundation of life, and it's important cannot.
Okay, that's good. So water is the foundation of life. Water is important for energy. Water is important for plants, for organisms, and for human beings as well. So this is very good that you all are participating. Yes, from the any other schools, from the Central Executive School, from the Central Fatma campus. Yes, students, is there anybody who want to give a response? Because it's time to practice. It has to be an interactive lecture, because you all are learning to speak correctly and to respond correctly through using your attentive listening skills. In the previous 4 to 5 lecture, you have listened this topic, you have adhered to this topic, we are carrying this topic. So it's time to speak out. Yes, students, from any other school. Yes, from the Central, Fatima. Is there anybody?
Sir, for the drinking purposes and for the health purposes.
Okay, you don't have to give the answer within the words. It's actually a interactive lecture, so you have to discuss this thing, you have to make some more points, you have to at least utter 4 to 5 sentences. Yes.
Sir, it prevents diseases.
It prevents the
Diseases.
Okay, so it prevents the diseases. Is there any other point? Yes, is there any other point?
For cooking.
Okay, so for health, for cooking, the water makes the 70% of our body. So these are very good points. So this is how you can utter, this is how you can respond to the questions. So what was our question? Our question was, what is the importance of the clean water? So we all know that the fresh water or the clean water is actually the 3% of the whole water bank of the world. The 97% of water is not clean, is actually comes under the category of marine water. So fresh water is only 3%, and from those fresh water, from the source of that fresh water, also a very big part of water is not drinkable, is not usable due to different kinds of pollution, due to different measures of the humans. So this is how a clean water source is very much short, and that is very important for life, that is important for our hydration, that is important for our mental and psychological and physical health as well. So there are a number of points regarding the importance of water for humans. We use water for the cooking, as the points you have present. We use water for the, we can say that, for cleaning and for different purposes as well. So this is how you have to respond the questions. Now there is the second question. Have you or your family ever experienced water shortage or pollution? Yes, students. Have you or your family ever faced water pollution or the shortage of water? Is there anybody who want to give the answer of this question? Yes, from the Central School, from the Renaissance, or from the Kingway? Is there anybody? It's a very simple question. It's a quite simple question. Yes.
Family. No, sir. We never face any shortage of water.
So you don't have faced the shortage of water or any kind of pollution regarding the water. The polluted water, we can say that. Yes. क्या आप में से किसी ने कभी polluted water को experience नहीं किया? The water which is supposed as the clean water, the water which proposed as the drinking water, drinkable water, but that is not supposed to drink, because that have some carcinogens, that have some pollutions, that have some, we can say that that water is contaminated. Yes, students, is there anybody who have drink such type of water or experience such type of water? Yes, students. Is there anybody who have experience of like that? You go to some restaurant and there they serve some water, the complimentary water, and that water's taste is not good. That water seems to be polluted. That water has some smell or this type of issue. Is there anybody who have faced such issues regarding the water? Yes, students. So there is nobody. Okay, it means that our water conditions are going to be better, or our students are very much shy, they are not even utter They don't want to utter, they don't want to express their emotions, their experiences regarding the water. So let's suppose you and your family doesn't have experienced the shortage of water, but we all have experienced the polluted water. We must have experienced the polluted water. Is there anybody who buy water from the filter or who bring water from the filter to his or her house? Yes, students, is there anybody? Yes, is there anybody? You can raise your hand. Is there anybody who bring the water from the filter or any filtration plant, or from any, we can say that, bakery or the superstore? So it means that the water which is supposed as clean water in our houses is not actually clean, it's not actually drinkable, that is polluted with some carcinogens, polluted with zinc, polluted with other impurities. Yes, from the central school. Is there anybody who want to give the answer?
Yes, sir, I have faced that problem.
Okay, is there something else you want to utter?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's go further. So students, this is how you have to make the questions, this is how you have to raise the questions, and then you have to try to give the answers. Now we have an exemplary conversation between the two friends, and now you have to notice that how one is employing his listening skills, and then he is making appropriate responses. So the friend, hey, have you heard about the recent water quality issues in our city? So there is a question. If one is not understanding the question, if one is not listening attentively to the question, he or she is not able to answer that question. So you have to listen the question, you have to listen the conversation, you have to listen the text in a very attentive manner. This will make you able to give the response. Now what the second character, what you will give the response? Yeah, it's a quite concerning. I read in the news that there have been reports of contaminated water in some areas. So we also mark some words which seems to be new or unfamiliar, or we can say that a little bit tough, high words for us. We also mark those words. So it's the appropriate response that he was inquiring about what you have heard, what you have know, what you have listened about the quality of water in your city. So he tell him that I read in the newspaper that there have been reports of contaminated water in some areas. So the answer is a pretty much appropriate. Now let's go to the second one. That's right. It got me thinking about how important it is to have access to clean drinking water. So he make another utterance, he make another expression, he make another point, that he is expressing some possession, he is expressing some possession regarding the access to the clean drinking water. Now what the replier is going to say: absolutely, clean water is essential for our health and well-being. Without it, we are at risk of waterborne diseases and other health problems. So waterborne diseases could be a word unfamiliar for us. So this is how he respond to that. Now what the conversation further goes, and not just that, clean water is also vital for our daily activities. We use it for cooking, cleaning, and so many other things. These are the exactly same points which you guys have made a little bit before. True, and it's not just a matter of convenience, it's a basic human right. Everyone should have access to safe and clean drinking water. So this is how the conversation goes on. So this is how one is making some questions and other is giving responses, and those responses and questions are very much appropriate. They are in the pairs. So is there anybody who think that the responses are appropriate? Yes, students, you have to raise your hand. Was the responses were appropriate for the questions? or they are not? Yes, students. Okay, so you find the responses appropriate because the responses were directly addressing the questions and the keywords of the question. So this is how you have to make the responses. We can say that the responses very much effective. And here we also found some new words. So what you have to do, you have to use these words in your writing. You have to use these words in your, we can say that, oral communication, to make these words your words. Let's go further. I agree. Do you think our city is doing enough to ensure availability of clean water? Well, they have water treatment plants, but sometimes the infrastructure needs improvement and there can be issue with pollution and contamination. It's a shared responsibility too. We should be mindful of how we use and dispose of water. Friend, that's a good point. So, what can we do to raise awareness about this issue? We could start by educating ourselves and others about water conservation and the importance of clean water. We can also support local initiatives and organizations working to improve water quality. That's a proactive approach. Let's do our part to make sure clean drinking water is accessible to everyone in our city. Agreed. It's a cause worth advocating for, and together we can make a difference. So students, this is how a conversation goes on and then the conversation ends. So they make very usable points during the conversation. They also make a proactive approach that they are going to help the organizations which are trying to take some measures to protect the water, the clean water, and also they are going to advocate for the awareness and for the, we can say that, the prevention of the clean water. So this is how the conversation goes on, and this is how the conversation goes on in our real life, and this is the pattern which we have to follow. Most of the time people don't even know how to respond a question, but you all have to know about how to respond a question. You firstly have to understand the question through your attentive listening skills. And what was that? Firstly, you have to listen to the speaker, you have to look at the facial expression, you have to understand the context in which the thing is going on, and then you have to try to understand the meanings of the words what he or she is using, and then you have to make your understanding about the question and present an answer. So this is the way, this is how we can respond in a better way to a question. So let's find out the activity of the oral communication skills. So students, if I ask you something, look at these pictures, what comes to your mind? Is there anybody who can describe these pictures, what these pictures are depicting? Yes, from the first one, this is the first one, and we have to start with that. Is there any student who can give a description of this picture, what the picture is saying? Yes, from the Renaissance school, what the picture is saying?
Sir, the picture is saying the drop.
What the picture is saying?
Sir, the picture is telling about the drop.
Okay, so is there any other thing which you have witnessed in the picture?
About water scarcity.
Okay, so the picture is actually provoking an awareness regarding the importance of clean water. Possibly this man is a farmer, and due to, we can say that, the shortage of water, the land goes infertile. The land become infertile. The land is affected by the shortage of water. This is how the farmer is very much worried about, and this picture is provoking some awareness that if we don't focus on the water reserves, if we don't protect the clean water, then the time is not, the time is not, we can say that the time is no short to, our lands will go infertile and our farmers will be in a phase of pity, we can say that. Here we have the second picture. What this second picture is saying, is there anybody who can describe this second picture? Yes, students, from the Kingway School, from the Central, yes, from the Renaissance.
Sir, the second picture describes the scarcity of water.
Okay, is there anything?
Shortage of water,
Shortage of water.
drinking clean water,
Okay, is there anything? So here we have some young girls and an adult woman who carry some pots, which presents that the water is not provided them at their doorstep, and they have to walk a long path for the water, and the water is not necessary for their, we can say that, for their users. So these are actually the provoking pictures which you can describe, which you can respond to, which you can write about, to provoke, we can say that, provoke an awareness regarding the clean water. So this is how you have to listen, you have to understand the text, you have to understand the topics, and you have to talk about. Here we have a simulation link. So students, there are two simulations. This is actually a simulation from the YouTube, the first one, and the second one is the link of the British Council. British Council is the official institute which carries the IELTS test and the other test regarding the English language. So if you go to the site, there you will find many listening activities. What you have to do, you just have to listen this audio, and then you have to give answer to some questions regarding that conversation. So this will be very helpful for developing attentive listening skills and make your responses more accurate. And after attempting each of the note, what you have to do, you can recheck your answer. So this is a very important site to practice listening and responding in a better way. So students, let's find out, is there any question, is there any confusion regarding this SLO? Yes, students, any question from anybody? Okay, so there is no question. So students, I hope these lectures find you well, and what you have to do, you just have to do practice. After this lecture, you have to go to the British Council site, you have to listen to the audios, then try to give the answers. It will be very beneficial for your oral communication skills. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.